And welcome to the latest and greatest from Step Brother Sports, part of the Hockey Podcast Network, and part of the Bills Mafia Buffalo fan base platform. So we are brought to you by Rich Brow Brewing, located at 5 South 20th Street, Richmond's premier Buffalo Bills backers bar. Folks, we got quite a bit in the news cycle coming in today. The Buffalo Sabres are now up 5-3 as we are literally speaking. Over the Toronto Maple Leafs, Alex Tuck with a ripper.
You're ahead. Period. You're ahead. Yes. You're ahead.
Alex Tuck.
I just saw it. There
Sabres up 5-3 over the Toronto Maple Leafs. It's been a real barn burner so far for that one.
Don't you know when those two teams get together, there's no defense. Defense be damned.
No, and UPL goes down with an injury there too. So Colton Ellis in net to finish the game. He's letting one so far. But the Sabres, as long as they can close out this third period, will get a huge 2 points in the Eastern Conference. But that is not the obviously biggest part of the news cycle of today, folks. Needless to say, the Buffalo Bills have caused quite a stir because they have promoted Joe Brady to be head coach, replacing Sean McDermott. And let's just say it hasn't made a lot of people particularly thrilled or happy with that choice, just because so many think it's left a whole lot more to be desired from the front office, caused as much of a stink as there was. Now you're really, truly putting all of this on Sean McDermott's blame, essentially, for all the playoff losses and, the roster decisions were because Sean's convincing for various players. I mean, you could insert Keon Coleman into that argument. I mean, it's just fascinating that they made that choice for Joe Brady, I think. Sean, what's your immediate takeaway on that? Because I know that's just been the absolute rage of the news cycle today for the NFL.
Well, I mean, first off, what's up, Chris Maz? Good to see you as always. Yeah, I changed my background logo. I changed it from the Bills to the Sabres. So that's really all I want to talk about. The Sabres are on, like we talked about, 5-3 in the beginning of the third period. Buffalo's new favorite team. Too soon? Yeah, man. I would say I'm a little surprised, to be completely, perfectly honest with you. I've had conversations with multiple people on our sister pod as well, saying that if the Joe Brady hire was going to be the one that happened, it was my least favorite choice by far of what they could do. And I kind of wanted to give credit. I kind of wanted to give credit that this front office, the brass of the combination of Terry Pagula and Brandon Beane, they were going to make a smart choice, and they were going to, obviously they did their due diligence, and who knows, was that, potentially just for lip service, to do these different interviews. I kind of thought that if it was going to be the Joe Brady hire, the Sean McDermott firing made a lot more sense, obviously knowing that he was interviewing for multiple head coaching spots, including Baltimore, the Raiders, several others, I think 4 in total, that the Bills essentially would have to make a decision to kind of ante up. And if they didn't want to lose the guy, what choice do they have except to hire him and name him the head coach? And if that's really what seems to be happening, the next step for me, and I'd want to hear your reaction, is, for my money, the biggest move moving forward is who is the offensive coordinator. Joe Brady's already come out and said that he's going to be calling plays again, but I think he has to nail the coordinator hires, especially with his lack of experience. There's already some rumors out. I don't know. You might want to comment on former Bill, maybe in the cards for DC as a favorite right now. And I'm kind of the hope that we're going to see another gentleman from Denver head this way in Davis Webb to come be the OC. But I wasn't expecting it, but it is what it is. There's a 5-year contract. So at this point, we're tying our horse to Joe Brady at this point. Does he survive the 5 years? Does he survive 2? Does Brandon Beane survive 2? I think that's kind of the benchmark right now. But what he does this offseason, this season upcoming, and first and foremost, who are the coordinators going to be, I think is really important.
Well, I mean, I don't know if he's going to get the full 5 years, but I mean, you never want to just outright make a take saying, oh, he's going to stink, or oh, he's going to have some improvement. Like you said, the coordinators are going to be key. And there's already been some talk that for the D coordinator, at least, which I saw a lot of people were big fans of for getting, I think it was Jim Leonard. I think. What was the
Yes.
exact name?
Yes.
Leonard coming out of Denver.
Jim Leonard. Do you remember him?
Yes, he
Him?
was a safety.
linebacker
Yeah,
for us.
defensive back. Yeah,
Yep.
defensive back. I know he had a couple stints with the Bills. So he's the defensive pass game coordinator for Denver. So he would be a good get, especially in that Denver defense. He's played with a lot of elite cornerbacks, including Patrick Surtain. So that's a good place to start. You're really going to revamp the way the defense is going to look because they play in a 3-4 over in Denver. So that would be an immediate change right away. And that would affect what kind of personnel you're going to have as well, because you're ultimately going to have 4 linebackers on there. And after what we saw out of Taron Johnson this past year as well, he might be on the chopping block because that would ultimately save some salary cap space for the Bills too. But to kind of go back before anything on this, I know I kind of got things rolling immediately. I apologize for missing you all last week because you guys had an excellent show with Michelle Girardi-Zumwalt.
Oh, Michelle was amazing. Yeah,
she
we missed you.
Gave you some great behind the curtain footage of what it was like to be on the Sabres broadcast and just all the great projects coming down the pipeline. And hey, don't forget, folks, that Dominic Hasek documentary is going to be coming
Sunday
by the end of the week. Yes. So be sure to tune in on that. So getting some Patriots love on here, huh? So Patriots win the Super Bowl, Portugal wins the World Cup. Hey,
they must know. They must know we have a special guest coming on later in the show.
Yeah, I guess so, huh? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But kind of even go back further, I mean, I wasn't even on after the playoff loss to Denver. I mean, my initial takeaway, not to beat a dead horse after that's been a couple weeks ago already. Don't have 5 turnovers. I mean, you can say, oh, it was a catch. Oh, it wasn't a catch. I mean, depends who you're asking here. I mean, if you're asking me, I thought it was a catch for Brandon Cooks. But, I mean, the refs, I'm not going to blame the ref just because beat the officiating by getting points on the board. I never like blaming officiating because that's just a cringy thing to do. Obviously, the Sean McDermott firing was a huge shock. I was completely surprised. Initially, I was like, oh, you fired the wrong guy. And I mean, obviously, we've taken a little bit of time and zooming out a little bit on the entire thing. And then even watching the press conference, we're getting a lot of Boston love on this right now. Interesting. But anyway, after the press conference last week, which many thought was a colossal catastrophe, more or less, for the Bills, with Brandon Beane and Terry Pegula both taking questions from the press. I mean, Pegula, like, again, throwing Keon Coleman under the bus and just his fashion, it was pretty ugly, of course. I didn't get a chance to really comment on that too much. I mean, I get his messaging. And at the same time, Keon Coleman, like, as of right now, like, he hasn't really shown he stepped up to the plate. So he very well could be a bust still. Furthermore, I mean, I did like the question he posed after, like, again, his delivery was horrible, but I did like the question he posed is, what is success? And success being, Sabres got robbed on a shot there. But what is success? Is it going to the playoffs 7 times and not having a Super Bowl? Like, I don't disagree with the guy, but again, delivery, atrocious in the way he did that. But at the same time, now with Joe Brady, after what's been right around a week for that coaching search, after all these candidates coming in, from anybody like Lou Anarumo to freaking Phillip Rivers to you had Shillhouse from the Rams coming in. I know there was a lot of talk if they were going to wait to see if Clint Kubiak would be their guy out of Seattle, but then they'd ultimately have to wait 2 weeks until after the Super Bowl. At least at bare minimum, February 9th, you could talk to the guy. You had Grant Udinski from the Jaguars, who had some tutelage from Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings and making his way throughout a lot of great offensive schemes throughout the NFL. I mean, if it was me personally up until today, Udinski was my choice to be the choice for head coach. Granted, he would have been quite a bit younger, and he also was only 30 years old and no play calling experience, like I was saying. But still, the Bills chose Joe Brady. A lot of the internet reacted accordingly, thinking that, oh, here we go with some more bubble screens just on every third down play on 3rd and long, just to see if they can get some yak yardage out of that. But then like I was saying, ultimately, are the Bills really going to just blame everything now on Sean McDermott and Joe Brady when he takes his first press conference as head coach on Thursday at noon Eastern time? I mean, are they going to really throw McDermott under the bus even more? I mean, I'm going to be curious if the press that is going to be in attendance there are going to kind of further ask Brandon Beane if he's present, or ask Joe Brady like what type of hand they had in roster building and what some of the opinions were. Because again, all those questions kind of going back to how the roster was constructed, and even questions going back to Keon Coleman, the way the wide receiver room was built. I mean, that could still be brought up again because questions are just piling up. I was reading Tim Graham's article today from The Athletic, so shout out TG, good friend.
Nice.
But still, the questions just are continuing to snowball for the team. And many are thinking like, no, this isn't a power play type of move, but the Bills are really putting in everything to maybe ultimately be too safe with this hire. They didn't want to get an outside perspective from somebody like Udinski, or somebody, heck, even as wild as Phillip Rivers being a concept as head coach. But still, you can't necessarily say that, oh, he's going to suck, or, oh, he's going to be amazing, because like we just circling back to already, he hasn't assembled his staff, because it sounds like nothing's come out for Bobby Babbitt being retained, which I think if you're really trying to cleanse at least one side of the ball, the defense, I think, is the biggest need, just because of how
Bobby Babbitt is not coming back. He's gone.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
There's no way they bring him back.
Yeah. And again, if they do go for Leonard out of Denver, I mean, that might be seen as like a great move. You're just trying to just get some new faces in there, and hey, maybe a new scheme could benefit the defense. Maybe the personnel that's out there, while they are technically a smaller defense on the D line and the linebackers, something like that could maybe benefit them for having a little change in philosophy there. So I know that was a big word salad I kind of just had on everything there, but what are a few more thoughts on that, Sean? Because again, a lot of Bills Mafia is very unhappy, ultimately.
I don't know. I feel like it's definitely a split. It's almost like the political landscape of today. It almost feels like it's 50-50. I think that the coordinator hires are going to be really, truly significant, as I alluded to earlier. I would like to see on the offensive side, it would be a great, I feel like the head coaching hire was a bit underwhelming, and I understand the safe pick. You have to wonder with this move, not only with Brady having those other coaching opportunities, but also what's Josh Allen's theory on all things. Like, what are his thoughts about who he's comfortable with? And I just don't know. I guess the thing that worries me is I don't know how much we needed to have a comfortable hire as opposed to like kind of a hard reset. It feels very much like the same with retaining Brandon Beane, retaining Joe Brady. I just feel like they need to shake something up. And I mean, it's arguable that, the offense has had good statistics. They had the number one rusher in the league last year in James Cook. That's what
a lot of proponents of the move are really saying. They're putting out the statistics on there. Shout out to Andrew, friend of the show. Joe needs to jump through a table at 12:01 tomorrow. I mean, that's one way to really get the fans fired up, or roll their eyes, depending on how they view going through tables at this point. But at the same time, hey, you want to make a good first impression, you really change the philosophy of the offense there.
They do.
I think
I'd like
that's
to
the first thing you got to do.
I'd like to see another, like some of these. I mean, I don't know how possible it is now, but you may not want, with Joe Brady already coming out saying he's going to call the plays, does that potentially neuter some of your ability of an OC hire to know that he's coming in to, more or less be the day-to-day overseer of the offense, but not having play calling abilities? I think that kind of lessens your chance to bring in a Udinski or some of these other guys that were already going for head coaching jobs. So for me, the perfect target, with all those things being said, with the pre-existing relationship, both with the team and with Josh and with Joe Brady, Davis Webb. If they could land Davis Webb, another guy that was in line for, very well and highly thought of in circles and around the NFL for like being on the cusp of an NFL coaching job. I think him coming in as an OC would be a slam dunk hire that would, I think, quell a lot of fan base for an underwhelming hire in Brady. And then I agree with you on defense. I don't know. Jim Leonard was awesome, man. He was an unheralded guy. He played on the Bills multiple stints. He always had a nose for the ball. He was undrafted, so it's not like he was a highly ranked player. I want to say, if I remember correctly, he came in under Rex Ryan's regime as an undrafted player and was kind of like that tweener, a linebacker, safety type of guy. And you just remember him making a lot of plays on the ball. Thinking back to his time, and it was quite a long time ago, but he's really risen up the ranks. He seems to be very well thought of, and obviously the Broncos defense. Say what you want about Davis Webb. We know he is very well thought of, just generally speaking. But I mean, the Broncos are really known, their bread and butter for that defensive scheme, and some of those guys that you mentioned earlier, the secondary and whatnot. I think that would be a solid hire. So if we could get Davis Webb and Jim Leonard, I think that makes up for some of the lackluster sentiments of a Joe Brady promotion. But I mean, like you said, we got to see what happens. I think more so, it's hard to even necessarily put real thoughts together about how this team is going to look, because depending on, I think more so outside of the offense, looking on the defensive side of the ball, whoever they name as the defensive coordinator, like you said, is going to not only it's going to change the scheme of what type of base defense is going to play. So you said Jim Leonard, then maybe they go to a 4-3, which I personally am hoping for, even if it's some kind of a hybrid 4-3 and nickel. Brandon Beane has a gigantic job ahead of him, regardless, just to kind of fix the salary cap issues that they have. But
there's ways they could do that easily. Also,
I
was going down a little bit of a rabbit hole. I went down his Pro Football Reference page. Jim Leonard was on the 2013 team, so I feel like he would have been the very end of the Chan Gailey. Actually, it would not have been Chan Gailey. It would have been Doug Marrone right after that. Nope, Rex was 15 and 16, and then Sean McDermott came in 2017. So
did he? I think he came back for a second tour, though. I want to say
yes, he was there in the early 2000s. But yeah, he was there, I believe, 2004, 2005 would have been like the Mike Mularkey years, and then after that, he was back for the Doug Marrone years, or for a year under Doug Marrone. So yeah, Jim Leonard. So obviously being
productive player, he
potential choice for him there. But yeah, as far as offensive coordinator goes, you mentioned Davis Webb, who obviously was also head coaching candidate as part of the interview cycle. He would have been a good choice. Again, a lot of people would have also criticized that for being potentially too safe too, because of the nature of him and Josh Allen's relationship already, because he was a backup quarterback for the team not that long ago. I believe it was through one of the COVID years, and a year or two after that, he was the practice squad guy. He got an occasional elevation to get a game check after that. But still, he didn't last too much longer into the league. He went over to the Giants with Brian Dable to be a backup over there. So he thought he'd still get some chances to play. But still, he ended up kind of hanging it up and going towards the coaching route because, again, a lot of people lauded his ability to lead a quarterback meeting and be able to dissect defenses and look at formations and be able to ultimately call plays and how the offense should really diagnose plays going forward. So he would have been a great offensive mind potentially, but still, he would have also been an experience. He didn't call plays. He's the quarterback's coach over in Denver right now. Probably Bo Nix attributing to all of the success he's had so far, going to the playoffs 2 years in a row. But I mean, you could even go to Brian Dable being also another potential candidate. They brought him back as I believe one of their first interviews they had earlier. But still, he ultimately didn't get the job either. He's now the offensive coordinator for Tennessee. But a lot of people criticize Dable for not being the candidate just because he was a little too fiery of a guy. I mean, yes, you want somebody to push Josh Allen, and there's some comfortability and familiarity there. He definitely would have pushed him. But a lot of people thought he lacked some professionalism, especially with some of the stuff he did on the sidelines, some of the relationship he kept with the coaching staff. I mean, I would have been okay with Dable, but I feel like his Giants resume wasn't exactly fantastic, despite taking a lesser version of Daniel Jones to the playoffs in his first year, which he won Coach of the Year for. So, I mean,
Yeah.
Schillhouse we talked about briefly. I mean, I never heard of him up until this past coaching cycle. They had Lou Anarumo, would have been probably one of my least favorite choices, just because
you don't need a defensive guy.
No, you don't need another defensive mindset there. Same thing could have been said for Anthony Weaver there too. Anthony Lynn was on there too. I was surprised to see him come up on there because he was the running coordinator for Washington this past year. What a shot right there. Sabres are now up 6-3 with a great shot from Jack Quinn. Yes, great shot from Jack Quinn. So with 8.5 left, the Sabres are looking pretty set to take this one out in Toronto, go down the QEW quite happy. So anyway, a little bit more on the Sabres in a little bit, just because they are, again, on a warpath, to say the least. But like I was saying before with the salary cap, I think I was looking at Greg Thompson. I know he does a fantastic job of analyzing how to manipulate the salary cap or how the Bills can go about doing so. And I think they could get somewhere in the range of like Josh Allen restructuring his deal. I know Ed Oliver is able to do it. I think they might do something along the lines of restructuring Dawson Knox, who has a very high salary cap hit. I mean, all these things need to come into play if they want to be able to make not only just basic moves to bolster their roster for depth players, but just maybe even getting some big ticket names too, if they are really going to commit to a not a rebuild of sorts, but just like a retooling. Now,
let's hear, well, a repurpose.
Yeah.
It might have to be a repurpose to a different scheme. I mean, really, like how many of those guys that we have in the current scheme seamlessly transition? I mean, some of them very well may. Like I especially like to look at like the front seven, like the linebackers, the D ends and the D tackles. A lot of those guys, like especially a guy like an Ed Oliver, can play in multiple schemes, multiple positions in front. But it makes you wonder, like a guy like who's really came on this year. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Who's our linebacker? The real athletic one.
Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, Shaq Thompson, Dorian Williams.
Dorian Williams, the guy who, I mean, really up to the season hasn't had a ton
you can argue they're all athletic, but still, yes.
I'm saying, like, but it makes you wonder, like, how much of a difference might it be for them to in a 4-3 or a 3-4. Either way, it's a little bit different. You want to have obviously bigger linebackers in a 4-3 linebacker, being there's only 3 on the field. But it just makes you wonder, in a 4-3 scheme, some of those linebackers can end up being edge rushers. Those athletic linebackers can come off the edge in a 4-3. So it might provide a little bit of extra flexibility, position flex, as Bean would say. So it'll be interesting to see what's their base defense moving forward and how many of those players can fit in. And like you said, there's a lot of players that they probably have to move off from anyway, like a Taron Johnson, good soldier he's been. They need to free up some cap, man, regardless of what they do.
Matt Milano is no longer going to be there. Joey Bosa, AJ Epinesa, their deals have all expired. Trey White, he was a 1-year guy. Looking at a lot of these players on defense, I mean, plenty of holes to fill, whether it's just getting guys back in the lineup. I mean, heck, you also don't know, is somebody like Dorian Strong going to be able to make his way back too?
Right.
Because
the
really gruesome neck injury apparently, but nothing was really ever said other than he was just going to go on IR, and you never really heard much after that. You hope his recovery is going well, just because he showed some promise. Granted, it was only in that Baltimore game, and I think a little bit more earlier in the season, but still, they're going to need someone like him to be able to come out and play maybe some special team snaps. I mean, heck, you even look at Tyrell Shavers. I mean, he was a practice squad guy. I think he only signed a 1-year deal. Brandon Cooks, 1-year deal. You have Connor McGovern, David Edwards, also on these expiring contracts, expiring deals. These guys are going to cost money. And are you going to extend Osiris Torrance? I mean, all these big name players that the Bills have that are really just making the machine go. I mean, especially if you want to have the rushing attack that you do, you either got to find some money in the banana stand of sorts, or you got to make more with less, do some good drafting, which Bean has really been not so great with as far as getting offensive talent. I mean, yes, Osiris Torrance was a great one, but like you look at his draft record, I mean, he has almost no Pro Bowlers that are just selected right away too, since like 2019. So it's kind of an indictment, you could argue, but still, this offseason is crucial because Joe Brady could really put a stamp on it right away if they're going to fully commit to offense and have this be his team more so than it was Sean McDermott, who's probably still going to get raked through the coals a bit at this next press conference. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted because the Sabres are just buzzing in the Toronto zone with 5.5 to go.
I'm watching it. No, go ahead. Continue to watch it. So one thing about that, and then I have a quick Jim Leonard stat for you that's pretty interesting as I've been looking through this. You know what? Based off of your point, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Just having an off season where they're going to go through a lot of changes just due to the fact that, you know, a lot of those guys were on 1-year contracts, and a lot of those guys that were on longer term deals like a Milano and whatnot. Toronto
6-4 Toronto. So
that's okay. We're good.
But it's just Max Domi.
It may just be good for him. It may just be it's good timing to have a lot of guys coming off the book. So said new hire coordinator on both sides of the ball. And I said on offense, Joe Brady knows what he's basically had a huge role in obviously what the offensive identity is. So maybe they don't make that many changes to the offense, but I am fully expecting like a full revamp on the defensive side of the ball, which again, McDermott was the head coach. He's a defensive head coach. The defense constantly let them, fail in the postseason. So I agree with having to revamp that defense, that bend but don't break. I'd like to have a dominant unit like a Denver. And I get there's a lot of money tied into those defensive units when you have a quarterback on the rookie deal. I understand all that, but it's not the worst time to go through a little bit of a scheme change when you have a lot of guys that are not under contract. You basically get to rebuild it in division of said new coordinator. Now, one quick thing I want to add about Jim Leonard. I thought this is pretty interesting. Me kind of doing a quick deep dive into his numbers. So let me know what you think about this. So Jim Leonard, as we talked about, undrafted free agent, plays. You're right. So his first year, he plays in Buffalo actually for his first 3 seasons. Okay. He is third year. He ended up, getting some run with the first team defense. Started 6 games. He had 2 picks. All right. Mind you, he was mainly like a safety linebacker, but mainly a safety. Okay. Undersized guy for that linebacker, but
probably a dime package guy.
Yes. I think he was about, I want to say he was about 235. Actually, no, I'm completely wrong.
I was going to say, that's pretty big for a safety.
No, I'm completely wrong. He was 5'8", 188. I was looking at kilograms and not converting it properly in my head. But anyway, listen to this. So after Buffalo, he went to Baltimore. I do remember, and I remember being mad when we lost him because he signed with Baltimore because he started to ball out. So for the next couple of years of his career, he played 1 year at Baltimore where he had a pick, started 13 games. And then for the next 4 seasons, he played 3 with the Jets, which I remember him because I just liked him. And then he played with Denver before coming back to Buffalo and finishing his career in 2014 with Cleveland. In those years, in those middle of his prime, 1 pick, 1 pick, 1 pick, 1 pick. At the end of his career in 3 seasons, he went, and I said, left the Jets, he went to Denver, started 1 game, had 2 picks. The next season, he comes back to Buffalo. He starts in 7 games, has 4 picks. And his last season of his career, he starts 5 games with Cleveland and has 2 picks. So in a total of 13 games at the end of his career, he had 8 picks.
Dude knows how to take the ball away on defense.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is
so
why
you start to see
Denver led the league in takeaways. So
well,
he might have
that's going to be kind of my point. That's going to be kind of my point when these players, and we kind of see it with Jordan Poyer when your athleticism gets sapped. And here's a guy that was not overly athletic at all. He's undrafted. So those
speaking of another player that's not going to be coming back next year too. So
right, there's another guy. I'm just saying it almost
DeMar
makes
Hamlin
you think
also being another one of those 1-year deals.
Dude, we're rebuilding the D from scratch. But I'm just saying you kind of look at that stood out on the page for me, like Jim Leonard. Like he obviously is those guys that are cerebral, and he's in the right, almost similar to how Micah Hyde, as he got older in his career and lost a step, he was in the right places. He thought the game ahead. And I think you're seeing that with Jim Leonard, which makes a perfect reason why he's ended up becoming a great coach, because he can think the game and teach it to younger players. So I really do like him because of that.
Yeah. So right now he is the favorite. He is not confirmed at this point. I would be very curious to see who they will get. So Brian, good friend of the show,
also Go
So
Bears.
RIP to the Bears as well. So the season. But what do you think the timeline will be for the coach and front office, Super Bowl or bust, in the next 2 or 3 years? Now, again, good question on there, Brian.
That's a good question.
So, and then right after that, Pagula sucks as an owner. But anyway, to kind of get back at that one, Pagula himself said, hey, it's not going to be Super Bowl or bust in that year. But I mean, there is some level of continuity. So, like, if you make it, that'll still help at the very minimum. Heck, I feel like you have to at least get to an AFC championship just to show that you're really trying to make a push to get to the mountaintop here. And even if you lose in the AFC championship, it's just like you get another swing at it. But still, 2 to 3 years sounds like a safe one. Yes.
Can I ask you a question? And
Sure.
Our viewers can chime in, Brian especially. Let me ask you this. Let me paint you a picture of, okay.
Also, empty net goal for the Sabres, 7-4. Thank you.
7-4, game over. I can turn it off. Hat trick.
Yes.
All right, real quick. We got to shout out Rasmus Dahlin. The guy's had such a hard season. He puts on social media. He loses a newborn baby.
Unborn baby. Because that was a complication of his fiance's heart issue that she had. So
right. Well, thank you for clarifying that. But what a leader. This guy obviously is going through it due to his wife having issues, is away from him in Sweden. He's basically going back and forth between the US and Sweden, going to Buffalo, flying to games on his own, plane, whatever, chartering planes or whatever. This guy shows up. He has a hat trick tonight, huge smile on his face. And it's just one of those situations, I think. Obviously, you want to be there with your family, and it's been said by a lot of guys on the team that
is, according to Mike Harrington, his first career hat trick.
So just congratulations to Rasmus, our captain, man. Like, that's just awesome to see, because he's had like a really tough go up from a personal perspective. Love to see that. But back to my quick question. So I wanted to just ask you guys this.
To go back on this guy again. Yes. So past 17 years of the Sabres. 14. But let's see if that changes this year. You never know. I might break the drought and let the Jets just be in misery now with the longest playoff drought.
Oh, it's happening. I'm gonna put some money on it. The Sabres are gonna. I think there's a better chance that the Sabres, as of right now, win the Atlantic than fall out of the playoff race, barring injuries. If they continue to be healthy and get Josh Norris back and maybe make some trades, which I think they will. But I got to go back. Let me just finish this thought about the Bills real quick.
Yes, and final 7-4 Sabres over the Leafs in regulation. Another
warpath
win.
It's a warpath
continues.
Climbing up the standings. They're sole possession of third place now in the Atlantic after getting tied, caught from behind the last couple nights. But so for the Bills, looking forward, can you imagine a year where we say, it's not Super Bowl or bust, but you bring Joe Brady back. He's already saying that he's going to be calling the plays. You interject some form of a different mindset as an OC. I highly doubt they're going to. I mean, the only guy I can see them hiring from within would be the QB's coach that could maybe get pulled up because they work together on the Saints, I believe, which is he's the former quarterback. His name escapes me right now. He's been on the staff for a little while. But if they bring in, which I would hope, Curry is the coach I'm thinking of.
Yes.
Okay. Curry. But so maybe they interject him, but maybe they interject a little bit of an outside influence, whether it be a Davis Webb, and you're just a guy who's been in another organization that's going to bring some fresh ideas. Is it so hard to think that the Bills add to that receiving core with a player, I don't know, say like an A.J. Brown, which should be on the top of my list for a guy who might be available? Salary cap, I understand, but I'm just saying they add a little bit.
Salary cap, all things aside, you could make anything you could do with that working. But I mean, just do we really need another one of those kind of guys? I mean, you always had to hold your breath every time you saw Stephon Diggs tweet. Now, I mean, you could just read A.J. Brown's body language on the sides. Is the talent there? Absolutely. And he's still pretty good prime age player right there. But I mean, yeah.
I think we just need a number one, man. We need a number one receiver. I'm just saying, a guy like him, he's been said to be available. Jay Jettis has also been said to be available. And there's obviously the Joe Brady connection now. Yeah, we don't know. But I'm just saying, I think you can imagine making some small tweaks to an offense. The offense is already Joe Brady has established that he wants to run the ball, which I'm all for. If they can diversify that passing game, which I think it needs to take a large step, which I hope that's what they integrate into the offense moving forward. Okay. You can see how the offense can be better next season. The way that the defense has been, even if they were to legitimately revamp the whole defense with a completely different scheme, are you telling me it's not possible that their defense couldn't legitimately take a step into to be a potentially slightly more dominant unit than what it's been, like at least like the last year or two? I know they've been good against the pass. I understand that, but that hasn't stopped anybody in the playoffs, and they routinely give up 30 points anyway. Or you have to score 31. So isn't it feasible to think that a new defensive coordinator with some fresh ideas, some added talent to both sides of the ball, they couldn't be better? I really think that they could.
Most definitely room for improvement there, just because like you brought up the playoff stats on there. I think Tyler Dunn on Go Long TD, and again another shout out to him as always. I love Tyler's content and just being a friend of the show as well. But still, he's always pointed out that the Bills are always giving up like right around that 30 points per game in their elimination games in the playoffs.
Right.
So that most definitely is, again, if you're going to be a regular postseason contender like they have been, like, sure, most definitely room for improvement there. I mean, heck, I think the lowest score losses they had was the game against Houston, where the Houston put up, I think it would have ended up being like 22 because it was that overtime game, and that fugly first year where they broke the drought against the Jaguars and lost to the Blake Bortles Jags 10-3. So those were like their two best defensive performances for elimination games. But again, that's obviously the first one not counting with Josh Allen, of course.
I would love to see, just to be the overarching, I guess. And we don't know. We don't know if Leonard's going to be the guy. We have to assume like he's maybe the prime candidate now. I would love to see them do whatever they can do via the draft or free agency to really solidify and revamp the D-line, because one thing that we've seen is that the front four cannot legitimately get pressure. I think the only time we saw it was when Michael Hoyt was on the field. Shout out to Michael Hoyt coming back for year 2 of his, hopefully healthy, God willing, and he could be a player next to Ed Oliver.
He's on a 3-year deal, so that they need him to come back healthy.
Groot's not going anywhere. But I think aside from that, they really can maybe beef up and maybe get younger. I mean, Deion Walker's a player. I think he steps into a full-time role as long as he can handle that from like a conditioning perspective, which I'm sure they'll get him right in the offseason to play 60 snaps or whatever that number is going to be next year. But it would be nice to be able to generate some pressure. I'd be happy to I think, I don't even want to say suffer a little bit, but give a little bit up on the back end. Because the thing is you don't need your secondary to play as well if you're consistently getting pressure on the quarterback and speeding up his time in the pocket and again, getting more sacks. Like the last time the Bills had a legitimate defense to get sacks, what was it? It was definitely Jim Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz.
I mean, and in certain years, I think at the beginning of McDermott, they had decent sack numbers. But like since then, it's like, okay, we're going to let them have all the time in the world and we're just going to cover the shit. We're going to blanket people. No, you don't need to do that. All you have to do is just get pressure on the quarterback and do a decent enough job. And with a guy like Jim Leonard, who is another like stellar secondary type player, coordinating a great defense in Denver, they can coach him up. It's one thing McDermott could always do, coach up the secondary. So just figure out the D-line, have it be a solid line, solidify that part of your defensive front. And I think that any defense can be better. And that goes for playing the run and obviously in passing downs. But too many times we get no pressure. You can't even breathe on a guy. And it's like, how long do you expect even NFL DBs to cover guys? Guys get open, even bummy type guys. So, you know what I mean? That's what I want to see. Revamp the D-line first. Oh, you're muted, Chris.
Rookie mistake as usual. But on that note, before we transition to some hockey talk, let's take a word from our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook. So, jaw-dropping moments that make hockey, hockey. Experience them all with the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. Missouri listeners, listen up. DraftKings Sportsbook is now live in the Show Me State. And new customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. And gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. And that's copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved. And now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Well, here from BA67. I am fine with the defense. I just want more offense. I think a lot of people are on the same wavelength as you there, my friend. Let's see. Just getting a little bit more into the weeds of it here. One last point.
Yeah, we want to hear from everybody. Anybody who's watching,
Yeah.
we got what? We got almost 900 people watching live right now. We want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think?
Feel free to chime in, folks. We appreciate you guys always making some comments on here. But one last point for Brian as he brought up that 2 to 3 window there. If you're being honest, I mean, that is probably the fair range of if you really have it or not with either Brady or Brandon Beane. But obviously, Pagula probably wants to see this through. Also, fun fact, This is the Sabres' 30th win of the season.
Woohoo! How long did it take last season? Is that what you're going to say?
Way longer. But still,
February, March, something.
Easily March, or if not later. But still, I do not think that it's going to be a hasty decision right there if they're going to be like, all right, 1 year, Brandon Beane, you're out. Nope. I mean, he just got this promotion to be president of football operations. Like, all of that's going to go through him. I'll be very curious to see if the power structure is going to be, does Joe Brady report directly to Brandon Beane and all and things of that nature. But still, lots to really chew on there. But anyway, on to some hockey.
I'll tell you what, real quick before I go to Sabres.
Yeah.
I do think, to your point, I think that they're going to be pretty seamless. Like I said, as long as Brady nails the coordinators positions, which I think that he will for the most part. I think they'll be successful. You have Josh Allen still in his prime. I think the floor with this team with Josh Allen is 9 or 10 wins and being in contention for a playoff spot, even like taking a step back potentially. I still think they're not going to flame out, obviously. What I do think could be possible, though, is before I see Paz chiming in here.
Pa from the top rope there. So
I do think if there is a situation where the Bills do potentially flame out, like where they don't make the playoffs, and if they were to have like a 6-10, well, it would be what, 6-11 now, 17 games. If they were to basically go back-to-back seasons, this coming and the next, I think you may be in a situation just because the pressure of Josh Allen's career. You see Joe Brady and Beane get let go together.
Yeah, good bet. But so Pa, our good old dad here.
Pa, PA.
Yes.
Hey,
that will.
Hey, happy birthday,
Alan,
PA. Happy retirement,
yes.
PA.
Yeah, thanks for that one. I'm on Ross St. Brown. So I couldn't even get Pa's name right. So I'm afraid that Allen will end up being like Marino. They'll never go to the big game. So
it seems that way.
Marino, he said when his rookie year, but never went back. So yes. Maybe I think what our dad meant is he never won it, of course, but still, no disagreement there. I mean, you hope that's not the case for Allen. I mean, heck, it took John Elway until like the last 2 years of his career to be able to at least win the Super Bowl there. But he also went early on in his career, even though he got smoked a couple times. But still, again, we've been teasing this for a while now. Sean, the Buffalo Sabres are on a warpath. They have won their last 20 games. The majority of them, and only losing a handful. Obviously, tonight, another huge 2 points in the standings in the Eastern Conference. Handling the Maple Leafs at home looked a little dicey in the beginning just because They had a goal disallowed, and Toronto quickly took advantage of that there. I think there's a couple lead changes throughout the course of the game as well. But Sabres, even despite losing UPL and having to switch to Colton Ellis midway through the game, that's going to cause another debate on keeping the 3 goalies in there or not. Heck, even just talk of Devin Levi. I know in the 2 goalies, 1 mic chat that we're part of, they were discussing how they might even incorporate Devin Levi if more issues tend to come into play. But still, you saw a whole bunch of scoring from all across the lineup there. Rasmus Dahlin with his hat trick. You saw Tage score. You saw Tuck score. Doan scored. Quinn scored. It was a night
All
to
the
have
usual
on there.
suspects.
Yes, usual suspects. They're making a name for themselves, of course, too. And Doan, fresh off that contract extension from last week, too. Brian Koziel just doing a little bit of a post-game interview here. Matthias Samuelsson says, Dahlin had to steal the show tonight after Samuelsson got 3 points, but Dahlin had 5. So
Did he ever get 5?
Funny.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Thompson says Dahlin is their captain for a reason. He says he takes no nights off, and he was skating great, creating so much off the rush. I mean, maybe finally getting all that off of his chest was maybe a little bit more of a just again weight off his shoulders.
Normalcy for Dahlin is like playing hockey with all the stuff he's dealing with in his personal life.
Yes,
there's something to be said about being with his guys. Like the team is his family away from his actual family. So,
and then shout out to our friends, 2 goalies, 1 mic. They're pointing out the stat of the night. Dahlin with his 400th career point after this tonight, with the 3 goals and 2 assists that he has on the evening there too.
And shout out to Tage with his 500th game tonight. I don't know if you mentioned that.
Yes, shout out to Tage as well. Game number 500 as well. Milestones across the board for the team.
Oh, we got you see cousin Mark is chiming in.
Yes, I'm also looking at that chat. So here's a hot take right here. He's got some fire with it too. His initial take: WTF, you chicken shits. After letting it brew, did Sean keep the offense handcuffed to control the clock and minimize turnovers? The 2024 season was the best offensive season in team history. If Brady can give a bump like Granato did, oof. That was you can have a lot of opinions about Don Granato. When Snake Oil Ralph Kruger got fired, it might help. A point that was emphasized was being a CEO, and if that means he lets the offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator run things without micromanaging how Marv Levy did. Well, there's a good throwback there, of course. Might be a smart hire. No, yes, literally 53 weeks. See where we're at there.
53 weeks. That is true. Good take, Mark.
Yeah, solid take there, but yes, I mean, I'll kind of backtrack again one more time to the Joe Brady hiring. It is safe. It comes off as a bit cowardly, but again, oh yes, hey, no problem.
I shared that earlier.
No problem there, BS. So yeah, it's all good there. But still, to the Sabres.
I don't know. I would say this real quick about Brady.
We keep getting
I know. I was going to just say about the whole Brady thing. I heard some things, that I have like a few inside sources with the team. I heard that the Bills brass and a lot of people in their building really are high on Joe Brady. So did it have something to do with the fact that they're more than likely going to lose him in this coaching cycle? Yes, but I do think that they are very high on his capabilities. And I did read something before we went live tonight about the takeaways from Joe Brady's interviewing process with Brandon, Josh, the front office. And they basically said he conveyed playing the CEO role that they are basically looking for better than anybody else did. Is that because he's been in the building so that he's part of internal conversations about, hey, this is what we maybe don't like about Sean McDermott? Possibly. So he knew what to say. But that's what they said. They were impressed by that. And they also were impressed with, I don't know what the exact quote was, but they said something in regards to how coaching affects the personnel. So those were the 2 main points about what really impressed him and what separated him, allegedly, to be the top candidate when it was all said and done. But yes, Sabres on a warpath. I don't know if I have the right statistic. I know we're in sole possession of 3rd in the Atlantic. We're going all the way to the top. We got to chase down Detroit of all teams, Pa. Detroit just doesn't want to lose. And this is crazy. The Atlantic Division is nuts, right? The Sabres have been playing their asses off. Detroit and Tampa Bay are 8-1-1 in their last 10. That's like the Sabres are playing the best that they could possibly play realistically, and we're still looking up at these two teams above us.
Also, I have ESPN Plus cycling through after the Sabres ended that went to Dallas, St. Louis. Your boy Matt Duchene, 2 goals in 40 seconds.
Yeah. See, here you go, Pa. Speaking of Detroit, so that's the next game because I know that's the division game. We play them 4 times. Did we play them yet this year?
We did earlier in the season. That was a Colton Ellis win.
We won. Did we not win that game?
Yes.
And we have Montreal's number, it seems like now again, which
we still have one more against Montreal, I believe, either later this week or the following week too. But
I didn't tell you this, Chris. I am taking a little road trip to see the boys on the road. I am going to the Panthers game. Sabres at Panthers. I believe it's Monday coming up.
All right. That'll be a tough one because
Sunrise. That's one team we don't beat. That is one team they do not beat.
Not only is Kachuk back on the team or back off IR, you're seeing Sasha Barkov too in his first skates back after a torn ACL, literally back in like August, which is nuts.
Yeah, so we're gonna see them rocking it up the standings very shortly.
So Lando Sports. So thanks for tuning in, my friend. So Tage is favorite Sabres player again, despite being a Rangers and a Giants fan. So going back to like even the Jack Eichel trade rumor era of all the bad trades they wanted to fire away for getting Jack Eichel for like a bag of hockey pucks at that point. I think it's funny to hear Rangers fans saying who they like off the Sabres at this point in time.
There's a lot of players. You know, one thing I do want to talk about too. I want to hear your opinion on this. So I actually missed. I had the first period muted. I was doing some work on my laptop, so I had the game on the big screen, but I didn't have the volume on. I didn't notice that UPL went out, so I thought that they pulled him because he let in a couple goals in the first. But now that he's hurt, it's interesting to have this 3 goalie rotation. It's been drawn the ire of Sabres fans all season. The media has made fun of them, but they continue to keep losing guys. Like it's like musical chairs. Lyons was hurt and he just came back. UPL was hurt earlier in the season, just came back, or is now hurt, and vice versa. So Ellis was hurt too. So it's in a way, this is a year that they've been carrying 3 goalies. Thanks again, Grandmaster GM Kevin Adams, once again for crafting this team for us. It's just crazy, and I don't know if you saw this today, but on the national side of the NHL news, it was announced today that somebody lost their starting goalie today. It might have been, Ottawa's without already. He's without what's his face?
Thatcher Demko out of Vancouver. He's out. Yes.
But also too, Ottawa obviously has the situation where our old goalie he's out for personal reasons. What's his face?
Olmark.
Olmark's been away from the team.
No, he's back.
He's back now. But it's just funny because like having these 3 goalies has paid dividends for us from an injury perspective, with all 3 guys missing multiple times this season and all playing great. I mean, with the team that scores 5 a game again tonight, by the way, you're going to win games, but they've had really good goalie. They've had timely saves and pretty good, strong save percentages. But you wonder if they were healthy, would they make a move to flip one of these guys, especially a guy like Ellis you got off of waivers? Now would be a good time to trade him and get really good value for a team that desperately is looking for a starting caliber goalie. But can they afford to?
Yeah. Question from Lando again. Do we have a favorite Rangers player? I'd have to say the bread man at the moment.
I used to think Keandre Miller, but he obviously moved on in the offseason.
Yeah, he's in Carolina.
I would say I like Kreider. They got rid of him, but he's obviously a little long too. I still like Fox. Yeah, I mean Fox is an obvious choice because he's a franchise defenseman. He's having a little bit of a down year this year. I still like Lafreniere. I know he's never really became, I guess, like a top upper echelon star in the league. That'd be a buy low guy. That I like the pedigree. I like his game. If they could buy low on him, I would like that for the Sabres. Being a scoring, he's a wing, right? Scoring winger.
Yes, not a center.
That's something that we could use.
Yeah, no kidding. A couple other things I saw. There's obviously a few coaching vacancies still open. You got the Raiders opening, just to kind of keep going through our list of items that just chat about here. The Raiders are still open. The Browns are still open. The Cardinals are still
You
open.
think McDermott's going to come back this year, or is he going to wait? He's going to wait.
Right. So coming on over here again, BA67. I wouldn't disrupt this chemistry. We have sucked for too long. Don't blow it. Don't disagree with that. But
Yes,
ironically,
very
again, because
true.
Kevin Adams constructed the roster. Yeah. As far as the remaining coaches, I mean, Brady was his second interview for several teams, including the Raiders. Heck, he even had an interview with the Cardinals. I have no idea where they're going to go at this point. The Raiders, I'm very curious what approach they're going to take, because they were looking at Davis Webb themselves. Heck, they might even try and hire him now, because they forget that he was still a contender for that too. So he might not even be in consideration for offensive coordinator Davis Webb, like you were saying. But the Browns, I saw two very sad memes, and again, I can commiserate.
What's Pietro think about this?
Yeah, I was just going to say I was going to commiserate with our buddy Pietro, who's been on the show a couple times as our noted Cleveland sports fan sufferer. I saw two memes, and they just kind of stuck out to me. One was the Will Smith from Fresh Prince, and it was more so just like, why does nobody want me type of thing, when he had that like really emotional moment on there. And then the other one was The Simpsons on there. It was, why does nobody want to be my head coach? They like changed the verbiage of like from The Simpsons movie in that one scene. And then Homer comes in and stands next to him. Well, nobody wants to be your head coach.
Ouch.
Yes, ouch indeed. Let's see. Caution right here. How do y'all think the Giants will be with Harbaugh next season? Well, they're definitely going to get a culture shift for sure. I'll be very interested to see how Harbaugh's going to enjoy having I think I heard them called the Creatine Commandos with Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo.
Oh, I like him, man. I think you know what he
Creatine
does?
Caucasians. Creatine Caucasians. That's what they were.
You know what I think? You know what I think he does? I know he doesn't necessarily have a strong background in either offense or defense, obviously being a special teams guy, but I think he brings a level of credibility to that org, and to be able to bring in two very strong upper echelon coordinators that can coach on both sides of the ball. And I think what he does is he lifts your floor of what they're going to be next year. So he's going to get that team moving in the right direction as a franchise. So I don't know. Do they make the playoffs next year? They have pieces. See. If Malik Neighbors makes a full comeback with that set of triplets they have, I'm a big fan of Scatterbo, and I'm a big fan of. I picked Malik Neighbors, my first pick in fantasy, for a reason. And he was tearing it up until he tore his knee. So I love that guy.
Oh, yeah. Pa coming in again with this one. Comment on Cleveland's coaching staff. Jim Schwartz, he is the current favorite for Cleveland. I mean, again, he would be an in-house promotion for them. I mean, he wouldn't be a bad choice, I think. And that'll still maintain their great defense on there, too. I mean, Pa knows he coached the Lions. I mean, I thought he did a fine job there. I think he just got a raw deal with just the way the team went that year. And he also makes a prediction that the Giants will make the playoffs next year. I mean, NFC East is a wild division, so anything can happen there.
That's true.
But hey, Lando, appreciate the subscribe. Thank
you, Lando.
Yep.
Do we read Dr. Neil here? Dr. Neil's got some hot takes.
Dr. Neil, he has quite a bit to say here. Buffalo Bills have done to the Bills. What the Buffalo Bills have done to Bills Mafia can only describe as pigskin gaslighting. Everything that we have told actually happened, and what we saw at the press conference actually did happen. I'm going to avoid that kind of stuff there. We're not getting political with this nonsense. But anyway.
I mean, it's good to have a strong take. I mean,
listen, appreciate
that press conference. So. That press conference was a shit show. For whatever they actually said, it could have been coordinated much better and much differently. And I get that, like Mr. Pagula, Terry doesn't necessarily have media training, but they could have been planned a little bit better just for cohesion's sake. That's all I'll say. Like, it just they didn't win any press awards, or they didn't win any fans over about the job, and maybe that affected some of the coaching candidates for the head coaching job. You don't
No,
know.
the
It could have
line
been
that comes
a
to mind
detractor.
immediately is, "I award you 0 points, and may God have mercy on your soul."
Right. I mean, I think Mr. Pagula didn't do any favors to Brandon Bean, but he's the owner. I don't think he cares really about what any of us say. So at least that's what I've heard.
Right. Kind of getting a little bit more on it. Obviously, talked about the coaches on there. Super Bowl 60, we have an eye roll worthy New England Patriots Super Bowl berth once again, but we have a Super Bowl rematch with Seahawks versus New England.
You know what it's going to be. This is the Marshawn Lynch revenge game.
Oh, let's hope
the Seahawks are going to win. They're winning.
As of right now, again, according to our sponsor, DraftKings Sportsbook, Seahawks are 4.5-point favorites currently.
I was right on it.
So I'm going to assume you said, who do you all got? I'm going to go Seahawks, but at the same time, in a cruel twist of fate, as another knife in the back for Bills Mafia, or just anybody who just loathes and despises Boston sports fans. Speaking of which, where the heck is Boston Mike tonight?
Where is Boston Mike? Let me see.
Yeah, get him on the horn. But still,
I'd love to talk smack to him.
But still, it would be cruel to see Drake May and the Patriots win again. I mean,
Pass
it would be nauseating, to say the least, to see the Patriots win once more. However, I do think Seattle's defense, not to mention their offense, can give the Patriots a fit in all regards. I mean, I do see them being the favorites there. I mean, obviously, I'll eat crow if New England does want to just go ahead and take the dub once more and win the record 7th Super Bowl for a franchise on there. So I don't know. Anything can happen as far as in any given Sunday situation. But I do like Seattle. I think, honestly, you get that narrative like, oh, Sam Darnold is the first 2018 quarterback to make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, honestly, good for him. The dude's been a journeyman. He's been cast aside as spare parts for the Jets, for the Panthers. He was a backup in San Francisco. Nobody thought he was going to start and do what he did in Minnesota last year. Like, the dude's a hell of a story. And for him to get the level of success he has, I mean, no, go Sam Darnold. I think he's an awesome story. And just, it seems like a genuinely great guy, too. So I'm rooting for the Seahawks, obviously, because, one, I just despise most Boston sports fans in general. But at the same time, I just love Sam Darnold's story. And as much as previously I thought Seahawks fans, as the 12s, were kind of obnoxious with just like their fandom, but I think just out of principle, it's got to go with the Patriots here.
I know what I also did. I had to pick my coach of the year candidate, and I picked it's McDonald, isn't it? For Seattle.
Yes, Mike McDonald.
McDonald.
All the Mike him. Mix or mix something.
I know it's confusing. I picked him. So in my vote, I picked him for coach of the year, but I did give actually. I had to give some love to Boston Mike. I couldn't pick Vrabel, but I did pick McDaniel as coordinator of the year for New England.
I would agree with that. Josh McDaniel most certainly elevated Drake May's game. I mean, you got to take bias out of there and just disdain for them. I mean, what they did and to elevate him, I mean, he's going to be an elite player for years to come. I mean, obviously, you like to see him play against the first place schedule next year, which is what it looked like it's going to be for him. They'll have one of the hardest schedules, I think, on paper. Again, that obviously changes from year to year just because one year is going to be different from the next. But still, Drake May is going to be a problem in the AFC.
You want to
go for it.
I was gonna say, do you want to go to the doctor's question? It doesn't always have to be sunshine and rainbows. I don't mind.
Oh, you're right. Okay, let's see.
He stayed away from the politics this time, so I'm okay with it.
I appreciate that. Buffalo's so again, still saying
Brandon Bean pulled the power play. Brandon lied about Keon. Pagula acted like an uncle with Tourette's.
Oh boy. Slowly evolving into a joke of a franchise. I mean, maybe some drought era football is what he's thinking here. Hiram Joe Brady tells you that they were afraid of having someone from the outside criticize them, so they decided to go with that. So
there's some merit to that.
That's a fair take. That is a fair take there, Dr. Neal. So
yeah. That was what I said. Joe Brady would have been my last choice. And I said, if they pushed McDermott out because they knew they had to elevate Brady or he's gone, I get it, but that's not negotiating or making a decision from a place of power. That's like kind of forcing their hand. So if that is what happened, and we'll never know. But I mean, there is merit to that. They could have put their balls up and and made a decision that could have been a more difficult one. But we're staying, and we don't know how much Josh Allen's influence it was made or was used in this situation. So we'll never know. But there's merit to what you're saying, 100%.
Just hope that, obviously, a lot of the commentary is, will Josh Allen be pushed by this next head coach? I hope Brady is going to be somebody who does pushes him, just because, again, you can't elevate your game if you're not driven to be uncomfortable. And that kind of mentality, I think, can help Allen, because I feel like he deserves some criticism, obviously, for the Denver game, just because of the turnovers, of course. But I mean, a lot of people can also criticize him for the fact that he's been comfortable in general. Like, the backup quarterbacks are just generally Allen's friends with Trubisky. Talked about Davis Webb earlier.
Yeah, no
Who's
going to yell at Who's going to yell at him? Who's going to coach him hard?
I mean, again, obviously he is Bills Mafia's Lord and Savior, as he should be. But at the same time, like, get a little uncomfortable and get that drive back. Get a little bit more of that fire. Not to say he hasn't had that. By no means am I saying he doesn't have that. But still, get a little bit more of that burning inside you a bit more. I mean, I'm all for that type of approach there, too.
I got Pa chiming in with two. Pa chimes in and says, Giants will make the playoffs next year. Totally.
Yep, talked about that one. He's saying Darnold will channel his inner jet. I don't know if we want him to channel his inner jet there, Pa, but he thinks he will beat New England. So
I think so. See. I hope so.
Ooh, tough one right there. And I think so today, January 27th, the wide right, fitting that it's Joe Brady hired.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think I saw that pop up earlier today, but still tough one to remember there. And I think this is right after, I think it was last week, where they had the anniversary of the 13 seconds game too. Oof. But still, kind of going a little bit further down. One other, I guess we could say, just to kind of dunk on Boston sports a little bit here.
I know. I love
Bill Belichick.
Dunk on Boston. Oh, yeah. Go there.
Bill Belichick getting snubbed from his first ballot Hall of Fame vote right there. Did not reach that 40 out of 50 vote threshold there. A lot of people were criticizing Bill Polian. I saw in my buddy's chat with the Sports Brew, shout out to the Sports Brew podcast once again, that they were mentioned how they thought it was going to be Polian who was the one who didn't vote, and they were calling him a coward and all that kind of stuff too. But he apparently was not. He voted for Belichick to get in. So, excuse me. I'm also finding this quite amusing that he didn't get in, just for all that he did to the Bills for while he was the head coach of the Patriots. But then now all of his life just unraveling while he's head coach at UNC still, with his personal stuff that he does on the side with his very young girlfriend, to say the least. I'm wondering how much that played into it, or how many more people have bought into the narrative that it was more Brady being the reason why New England won, as opposed to Belichick. Obviously, Belichick established the culture, sure, and he is a pretty great defensive mind. But man, what a legendary level of snubbing for that first ballot opportunity for Belichick there. Let's see. So BA67, I agree with no first ballot. He sucked before TB12. Yeah, ask any Cleveland fan there when he had Nick Saban on his staff, and sucks after TB12. Sorry, still can't say that name. Pats suck. Yes, so we're with you there.
I'm trying to get the Pats fan on so we can dunk on him, and I don't know. Yes. He's not answering.
No, but then he'll dunk right back saying, "Oh, Patriots are in the Super Bowl."
Yeah, yes, but if they lose, it doesn't matter.
Yes.
They lose.
Yes.
I'm working on it. I'm working on trying to get him on.
Oh no, you're good.
He has the link. So
yes, getting a little bit more on a fun side of things here. Let's do the grind my gears segment. So brought to you by Larger Than Life Balloons. Just again, as always, size matters. But still, grind my gears. Shawnee V. For me, I'm going to go with one thing. Obviously, we've had the whole fiasco of the press conference. Now you got Joe Brady being hired. I'm going to steer away from sports. I'm going to go with the, again, kind of a lame cop-out one here, but to anybody in the South that just got blasted by this snow and ice storm, we got blasted indeed by about, I'd say about 8 inches of snow, right around that range here in the Richmond area. But then 2 inches of ice, which has just made everything an absolute mess. And then obviously we grew up in Western New York, so we know what good infrastructure looks like for clearing out roads and snow plows, things of that nature, but they do not know how to handle it around here. My street that I'm on has been a sheet of ice since Sunday morning. And it's still like that going into tomorrow being Wednesday. That's something that's grinding my gears because it makes it hard for everybody. I mean, there's a lot going on, obviously, in the city of Richmond, just because Richmond's the capital of the South. They're starting the legislative session right now, and businesses are closed down there with a lot of bigwig folks on the political side. Again, not trying to delve too much into politics here, but that's obviously causing a huge stink. And I'm not sure if anybody's seen this kind of meme, this kind of mockery. But if you've ever YouTubed the Southern Mom in a Snowstorm YouTube clip, that's how most people will react to snow when they see it down in the South. So that's what's been grinding my gears, is just how this storm actually just generally like crippled us here. And I know we can actually kind of commiserate with Buffalo for once. They're getting pounded on. It's freezing cold. I mean, I love winter as much, but I mean, if you're just kind of stuck inside, you're stuck inside out here. Shawnee V, what's grinding your gears, or do you have flowers to give in this case?
Well, I'm looking for Southern Mom in the South. Is it a meme? Is it a video? Is it a picture?
It is a video clip, so you'll probably be able to find it on YouTube. Southern Mom in a Snowstorm.
Oh,
but it's a dude in a wig that just kind of like acts as like the stereotype on there.
Oh, so there's multiple. Okay, I got it.
Yes.
All right, I'll watch it later. Yes. Yeah. So I don't really have. Well, I do have one. I'll give a quick shout out and give some flowers to a company that could very well be a very soon to be sponsor of the pod. That's going to be All Star Van and Car Rental down in Dania Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Shout out to John, a good business partner of mine, who is taking me to the Sabres game against the Panthers on Monday. I'll be headed down there on this Sunday, although it's not going to be very warm. And so that kind of, it brings me to my gripe of the night. So I'm going to throw a little shade towards and grind my gears towards the local weather people. The same exact storm that Chris Maz was just alluding to now did nothing to me. Even though we were projected to, on Lake Lanier near Atlanta, get 2.5 to 3 inches of ice, followed the next day, this past Sunday, by 11 to 13 inches of snow, got neither. But it was 15 degrees this morning when I woke up. So that's what. But that was actually post the storm already rolling through. So I don't know. Nothing really happened here. So I wish the weather people. I mean, I guess it's like, yeah, even be right 1/3 of the time you bat 300, you're a Hall of Famer. I don't know.
Hey, it must be great to be paid to lie all the time, but
right.
Still, yeah. Unrelated now, so thank you for tuning into the Grind My Gears segment there. Again, brought to you by Larger Than Life Blooms. My lovely wife, Emily, has just chimed in with a couple other things she wanted to add to the show. Since it is college basketball season, University of Virginia, UVA, the Cavaliers, the Wahoo, they just beat Notre Dame in double overtime on the road. So, hey, shout out to Wahoo fans out there tuning in as well. And then for a Buffalo adjacent item here in the world of tennis, obviously Jessica Pegula, one of the still top American women players out there. She is playing in the Australian Open. She's right now in the quarterfinals. So, again, making her way up the ranks there, too. Maybe she could get one of those majors under her belt, too, because she's just had that elusive title that she's just been looking for there. So, interesting point out there. So, thank you, Em. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Sam. We love you.
Yes. So, any word from a Boston Mike there? Or is he just trying to ghost us now here, Shawnee V?
I don't know. Like, I sent him a call and I sent him a Facebook message and he didn't answer either one. Though he is home alone, like Macaulay Culkin right now. So
well, good for him, right?
Cruises by Amy Perrin is laying on the beach somewhere, so she is not in town.
Good for Amy, she deserved it. So
another. Yeah, no, you're right. Good for Mike playing mom or dad, however you want to say it. Kept the kids home from school today. Too cold to go to school, kids. Stay home.
Interesting take.
Good dadding, good fathering, good parenting. I like that.
Interesting take. Anyway, Oh, let's see another comment here. BA, thank you for chiming in as much as you have this evening. Only basketball game I ever went to was the Buffalo Braves. OJ said, actually,
Ooh,
hey, that's a
old
heck of a
school.
trivia fact for you
Bob
there.
McAdoo.
10 years old, too. Awesome. Love that there. So, Shawnee B, any parting thoughts before we kind of close things up tonight? We're nearing our almost 1,100 viewers across all platforms. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in there. But any closing thoughts, on whether it's on Bills, Sabres, Super Bowl, anything in the sports stratosphere?
Yeah, I do have one. I want to give a quick shout out to the next sport coming down the pike. Well, starting aside from obviously getting into the college basketball season. March Madness is my favorite. Got to give a quick shout out to my squad here.
The Pirates.
The Pirates, the Buccos. Recently named top prospect in the MLB, Connor Griffin, is going to be vying for a job right out of camp, out of spring ball at shortstop and potentially maybe even center field. He's talented enough to do both. Number one prospect in the MLB. And shout out to Memes and PA, good old Pa. We'll be going to not one, not two, not three, but 4 series for the Pirates this year as part of their yearly Christmas present where we go to the game. So very excited to get the Pirates started. They spent a lot of money and made some big trades. So I think that they may be in contention to win their division this year, the NL Central. So we'll be
Wouldn't
there
that
for
be
it.
something?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something? The Pirates just have been basement dwellers for so long, and you got to put a squad around Skeens. But hey,
You do.
Again, love me some PNC Park, especially that's a quintessential summertime destination for us, of course, too.
Oh, they said woohoo Pirates. Yeah, there you
Yes.
go. Memes chimed in. Why don't you say meme? You know what, Memes? You should comment on the podcast so everybody can see your lovely tweets.
There you go.
It is. I don't think she has social. So
BA67, remember going to the Bison game when they were the Pirates AAA team. Now that's a throwback there. They've gone through a few teams as well.
Oh, I didn't even know
that.
They
were the Pirates AAA team for a minute.
Oh, that's a good little piece of history there.
There you go. Love that. So again, to our nearly 1,100 viewers across all platforms, thank you. To our folks in the comments section, we appreciate your participation and chiming in throughout this evening. With that, coming up next week, we could get a little bit more of a reaction into Joe Brady's first press conference, what some of their next moves will be, hiring of coordinators. We have the Sabres about to head into the Olympic break. We'll have a lot to talk about on there too, because Tage Thompson is going to be
3 guys. Darlene, UPL, maybe starting if he's not injured.
Yes, that actually matters for Team Finland right now, UPL's injury status. But Darlene and Tage are definitely going to make some names for themselves in the Olympics over in Milan Cortana. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. But until then, folks, thanks for tuning in. And as always, let's go Buffalo.
Let's go Buffalo.
Thanks, y'all. Take care.